All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Antonio Castillo, your host with the most, bringing you back another edition of the ACH, the Alamo City Hoops Podcast. I am flying not solo, overall digitally. We're being joined by one of our newest reporters, Nico Jordan, is going to be mixing it up tonight with us on the ones and twos and the wheels of steel. Nico, welcome to what I think is your first ever ACH podcast, correct? Awesome. Hopefully the first of many to come. So, ladies and gents, we have so much to get to. Again, tonight's rundown, and as always, we will go ahead and obviously get that for you here in a second. Don't know if you can see, but we got about a page and a quarter of stuff to talk about. First and foremost, always want to say thank you to the fans, the supporters, the high school coaching fraternity, whether it be the high school basketball coaches, the AAU club coaches, and then again, college coaches who we talk to on a daily basis. Thank y'all so much for always showing support and always showing love. Again, Nico, it's been a heck of a summer. Literally, I know, no pun intended. It's literally been on fire outside and across the country. The heat that's been hitting the part here of the tri-regions. And so this past weekend was no exception. Going into our Summer Hoopsfest, there was plenty of heat as far as competition and plenty of heat as far as talent in the gym over at Mission Concepcion this past weekend. And so, as always, what we do, Nico, and you'll see the tradition here is before we get going into the material, we want to give people the rundown, let them know, obviously, where they can listen, where they can find us, where they can get updates. So for those of y'all that are brand new, and we see some people already chiming in there on the IG feed, thank y'all so much for joining. 2K Matt, KW Harris 1996, thank you. Shout out to you guys for tuning in. John _M96, thank you as well. So where you can find us right now, obviously, if you're tuning in here, if you're not following us already, you just saw the feed, you saw the live feed on your feed, please give us a follow at Alamo City Hoops on the boys on IG, and on the girls side at ACH GBB. It's Alamo City Hoops girls basketball. So give us a follow. Vic Juarez, shout out to you out there in the West Texas. The 806 had a great event this past weekend. Had a great showing and leading Team GPS to that 15U championship. We'll be touching on that performance as well. And again, just going through the reset. So give us a follow on Instagram, on Twitter. Follow us on the boys side at Alamo City Hoops 1. And on the girl side, at ACH GBB. And then if you just want to listen to the audio of this podcast, you'll be able to hear me because we don't have Nico in the home office studio. You're only going to be able to hear me on the podcast. But nonetheless, you can find us at Spreaker.com. Simply just search Alamo City Hoops in the search window in the top right corner. So, Nico, man, great weekend. Of course, this is, I believe, your third actual event with us, right? It's finishing off strong the high school season. But just some of the things we're going to touch on there, as we say in the intro, Nico, and if you want to finish it off, just talking again about recapping the Summer Hoops Fest and some of the top prospects that we'll be talking about here shortly.
Yes, sir. We got a lot of good stuff, a lot of championship teams to talk about, a lot of incoming freshmen, a lot of seniors to talk about. So just a lot of talent across the board.
Awesome. We'll touch on the talent. We'll touch on some of the top prospects, as well as some of the top performers. We'll also touch and give. I've already had probably close to about a dozen coaches who have reached out about when are our high school fall showdowns, our I-35 high school showdowns. And, Nico, we obviously have it up on the website. Registration, we're looking to open registration the first week of August, possibly this last week of July coming. So just bear with us. We're trying to breathe and trying to catch up, right, Nico, from this past weekend. And again, the grind doesn't stop. This coming weekend, I'll be around the state of Texas, logging those miles. And then again, talking in, a slight more detail, some of those upcoming live periods starting for both the boys and girls. Some news and notes, some recent commitments on the girls' side that I'll touch on, some high school coaching changes in and around the tri-regions as well that we've been able to confirm. And Dylan, thank you so much. Yes, sir, our I-35 high school showdowns, looking for that to be crazy. We've had some DFW and H-Town schools and Syntex schools come on down and be extremely competitive. Last year we had 56 high schools for our San Antonio boys I-35 high school showdown, which this year will be September 17th. So looking forward to it. So with that, Nico, let's go ahead and actually start our first segment here. We got about 9 or 10 minutes until our first and only break, Nico. We're only going to go 30 minutes, but beware, Nico, from experience. I got the water, and then I got the Texas tea. It's just tea. It's not mixed. Nothing mixed in there, Nico. So, got to keep hydrated, man. So going into the first bullet on our rundown, quickly I'm going to go ahead and shotgun style it. 17U champions. Shout out to HD Toros Elite and Coach Lou. Do not call me Luis Martinez and the HD Toros Elite. winning the 17U championship over Texas Hard Work 2023 Soto. We'll touch more on that. 16U champions. Congrats and shout-outs to Texas Hard Work Booman, topping SA Future White. And then, again, as we had mentioned, shout-out to Team GPS representing the 806 in the Lubbock area in West Texas, winning the 15U championship over Coach Mo and his Next Level Raiders. All were competitive events. In the end, started pulling away just some. So, Nico, I'll definitely touch on the first two there, and then anything that you want to add for Team GPS, or feel free to throw your thoughts in. But, all the recaps, first off, are on the website, so we don't have obviously enough time to talk in full detail and go possession for possession over everything. But if you go to AlamoCityHoops.com, there are free articles posted on the recaps, the breakdowns, high score. But just touching on it, Nico, we'll go one by one. HD Toros was a tight game at the half, back and forth, multiple lead changes with the Texas Hard Work 2023 Soto group. But the difference was Xavier Martinez, who just took off in the second half, was basically unguardable, dissecting the defense at his beck and call. Finished with 31 points. Again, can't say enough. Inside, outside, had 4 3-pointers. Plenty of assists. If we track the assist, pretty sure it was pretty close to double digits. Again, we say what's up. Is that PJ? Is that my guy PJ up in Denver, up at Metro State? Coach PJ, if that's you, man, shout out. And then I see here we got a Bracamonte joining us, 44. Thank y'all again for joining right now. But so is Xavier Martinez. Can't believe he's again, he has reclassed to go to the prep route, Nico, to 23 Aspire. So, again, looking for him to hopefully, hit some college recruiting boards. And then, again, helping him, it wasn't a one-man show, but Jaren Hall had 15 points. This is the best I've seen Jaren Hall shoot the rock. And again, in my entire time seeing him here over these last, what's going on 4 seasons starting this year. And Santiago Ochoa added 14 points. But again, Nico, I know you had to step out on Sunday, but just your thoughts as far as what you saw from HD Toros Elite. And again, it was a tight game. And in the end, the Toros just had a little bit too much firepower with Xavier going, with Jaren Hall going, and they pulled away for that 77-66 win.
They're just an overall good role team. They know their role. They lock up and they definitely can shoot the ball and score the ball as well. So
no, for sure. And Nico, and I know you're not. This isn't foreign to you, but a lot of people. Again, we don't speak in absolutes, and I wrote that in one of our prospect write-ups that we're going to talk about. Very, very rare, but Lou Martinez. We haven't always agreed on things, and it's very, very savvy individual when it comes to basketball. But he does, arguably, is one of the best, if not the best, in the San Antonio area in producing kids and actually translating to the next level, whether it be Jonathan Reyes, whether it be Brendan Winsel, whether it be Joshua Pitts, going on and on. So, again, shout out to Lou and the job that his Toros did in going undefeated and wrapping up the 17U championship. So, again, with 5 minutes to go, Nico, here before our first break, let's keep going here a little bit first. Let's do 16U, recapping that. That was the tightest game as far as final scores. And, yes, shout out to Tavares who's watching. I don't have my roster with me. I do have it right now, Tavares. I got the roster, the rundown in one eye on the Instagram. So shout him out for us, Tavares. With that said, the 16U. Again, Texas Hard Work Booman. And what makes their win so impressive in beating SA Future White 50-48 was, again, a close game at the half, 30-24. Got up to that 8 to 10 point margin in the second half before it was Tavion Ford who came through with what was eventually the game-winning bucket with only 6 to 7 seconds left down on the left block. Played physical. Damian Ramirez had a couple of key buckets as well. But what makes their win more impressive, Nico, as you saw, every single one of those kids that played on the 16U level, has yet to log a minute of high school basketball. Not even varsity action, but they are all 8th graders coming in to be freshmen, and that made it that much more. That made it that much more impressive, their win and going undefeated and winning the 16U ship.
Yeah, just to add to that, definitely a good overall tournament effort to go ahead and swarm him as soon as he caught the ball. Definitely took away his presence down low. So just shout out to that team. Overall, good team effort. Like you said, very young team. A lot of those kids have not even logged a minute of high school ball, so very impressive tournament by them.
Definitely. And continuing on, Nico, here, it's, again, we got 3 minutes and we're up against the break. And I'm telling you, man, when you have fun, you just lose track of time, Nico. It's already going on 15 minutes, man. But nonetheless, and then last but certainly not least, again, some more shout-outs there. I see the albino rhino and SA Future joining us. Watch out. There could be a stampede. And then we see Trade.3350, 3350. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. But continuing on here, just touching on the 15U victory. Team GPS. Some people have not heard of Team GPS. We've heard of them now the last 2 or 3 years. Coach Jackson out of West Texas has a bunch of talented kids that play out there in the Lubbock, Amarillo area, as far north as Amarillo. And Team GPS, I tell you what, Nico, this game caught my eye from the very beginning. They were on pace to 100 points each. And what's incredible is they're, again, 15U. A lot of kids who are just either freshmen, 8th graders to be freshmen. The opponent, Next Level Raiders, definitely a job well done with some of the younger talent. That Next Level Raiders team that Coach Mo has, the majority, if not all of them, are also incoming freshmen, middle schoolers who played up into the 15U level. So, again, great competition all in all, but in the end, it was Victor Juarez, a sophomore to be now at Amarillo Caprock, a 2025. Just went off for 33 points. Every time I turned around and looked, it was almost like as if he was splashing one, whether it been the right wing, left wing, straightaway center. Had 3 trays to add to that. Elijah Moore added 15 points, 5 trays, and then Kendron Coleman also added 16 points in the victory. And another talented piece to that team is another sophomore to be at Seminole, again, Far West Texas, 325-806 area code, Calvin Petty. But they all showcase their talent, Nico, and I'll turn it over to you here. Just quickly wanted to say that 2027, and Tavares is saying there he's going to be special. Again, yes, the scores matter, obviously, and when we report the wins and losses, but we're looking at competition. We're looking at overall development. How does the young man or woman translate to the next level? And what Next Level Raiders have in the 2027 in Keshav Vijay Kumar, I hope I said that right, and Bryce Christian are both 7th and 8th graders respectively who played on a 15U level and platform and held their own. Keshav was consistently scoring 20-plus, leading that Raiders team. So, Nico, as we got the last minute here before break, just your overall thoughts on both Team GPS winning and how talented and how much of an effort that was, an offensive scoring juggernaut Team GPS was, and then the resiliency and the effort that the Next Level Raiders, their 15U elite team, showed.
Definitely GPS, West Texas, coming from the tri-regions and just having a scatter of kids from a different variety of places. Just an overall impressive tournament by them. They did it like every day 1, day 2, and of course championship day. They were on fire. They were undefeated. Just showing reasons why they obviously won that bracket. As far as the Next Level Raiders, Keyshawn B.J. Kumar, just flat out, he's the goods. He is definitely the goods. He has how would you say, he defines the eye test.
Passes the eye test.
He's very lanky. He can handle it. He's young. I kind of spoke with him for a little bit after one of his games. He had like 26 points that game. It was on day 2, and he kind of, told me, it says on the bracket, or on the roster here, excuse me, he goes to Lopez Middle School, and he's a 2027.
Yeah.
For his the way he can handle the ball and shoot the ball, just very, very impressed by that. He said that he might want to go to Reagan, so maybe look out for him to be a Rattler possibly.
There we go. Good stuff, Nico. Well, Nico, on that, let's go ahead and take a 60-second pause. We're going to go ahead and throw it to commercial break. Again, Nico's on our IG live feed, so he can't hear the music cue up. I'm here in the ACH home office. But nonetheless, I'm going to toss it to the break here for 60 seconds, Nico. If you need to step away or do something, by all means. And on the flip side of the break, we'll do a reset again where you can hear us, where you can find us. We're going to touch on some of the prospects we've talked on. Again, some news and notes, some recent commitments on the young lady side, some coaching changes that have flown a little under the radar on the high school scene, a couple of private school boy changes here in the 210. And then again, where we're going to be at this coming weekend as far as what live periods we're going to be at, where most teams are going to be. So again, we're going to take a 60-second break. On the flip side, we'll break that down all for you. So don't go anywhere. Stay on the IG feed. Again, for Alamo City Hoops, I'm Antonio Castillo. We'll be right back in 60 seconds.
It's a Friday, I'm about to go off. Got my chains on and I'm about to show off. DJ Snake up in here, about to go off. Now go off, now go off.
Smoke stress, took it
Mics are hot. Mics are hot again. All right, ladies and gents, thank y'all for coming back again to the second and final segment of the Alamo City Hoops podcast, the first of the summer. I mean, I guess it's almost kind of like the first of the spring. But here we go. I see a comment. I don't know if Tavares can do you coming live from your new home in the Dominican. That is the only, the albino rhino, ladies and gentlemen, who is the head of SA Future. And you know what? We wanted to say this, and I forgot back in the beginning. So we're anti-smoke and mirrors, Nico. We are anti-smoke and mirrors. We do not like smoke and mirrors at Alamo City Hoops. So we apologize because I know we had promoted our new administrator, AT, was going to be joining us. But, hey, everything works out so well. You know, you got a sudden change sometimes. Sudden change, you know, if there's a turnover on defense, we got to get back. Or if there's a turnover on offense, we got to get back on defense, right? So sudden change. And that's exactly what we did. Nico Jordan stepped right in. So we apologize for the smoke and mirrors. And of course, Albino Rhino, for those of y'all that don't know, is the head coach of the Brennan, used to be young Cubs and now growing to young, mature Bears. The Brennan Bears, which, again, we expect a lot of news from them in the Albino Rhino this coming season. But, again, as always, Albino Rhino, we don't agree with the smoke and mirrors. You know, that's definitely a dictator-type move, emphasis on the dick. So with that being said, I have to do it. FTD. Can I get an FTD, Nico? FTD. There we go. So moving on. So into the second segment here, talking on some of the prospects, Nico, that really stood out. And again, I wish we had time to go up and down the 48-team roster. For those of you that see why we actually have rosters, this is a big reason why we have rosters, that's the whole part of it, is actually for us identifying who some of these prospects are. Not everybody is a senior to be. Not everybody is an upperclassman, a junior to be. We have freshmen that we need to note, obviously, that we need to see someone that we're going to be keeping eyes on. So, Nico, let's keep it nice and easy. And I'm going to, just on our website, and folks, if you haven't already, again, with the reset, everything we're saying can also be found on alamocityhoops.com. Check out our website. Follow us on Twitter, boys and girls. Follow us on IG. If you are watching us already, thank you so much. If you haven't followed us, you're just following on the feed. Be sure to follow us. And then you can also get this podcast archived on Spreaker.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So with that reset, first off, Nico, again, going back to just some of the prospects. We already touched on Santiago Ochoa. One young man you mentioned, it's Daniel, and we're going to give it a shot. Daniel Mbateca from Northwood Temple Academy in North Carolina. I'm waiting on some confirmation, but it looks like there could be a transfer in, very likely transfer into the Syntex area. We're going to hold off on putting that information out until I can 100% speak with the coach. But nonetheless, 7-foot wingspan from lane to lane, Heinz D1 16U, raw, but still showed flashes, Nico, and impressive. And in one of them, I don't know if you saw, was on the right side of the court, short corner, reverse pivoted to face up, swung the ball, took a power dribble, one dribble, and then shook the gym. And I was like immediately taking note, not just because of the size, but the move that he did as a 7-footer and a legit 7-footer. One of the guys that caught my eyes. Again, just naming some of the guys, some of the prospects that stood out. And even with that impressive move, I think the prospect that stood out the most as far as improvement, whether it be not seeing a prospect before or improvement, was, without a doubt, in my opinion, was Trey Pullins, now over at Somerset. Seeing some of the abilities that he has now in grabbing a rebound and being able to dribble up and down the floor, full speed, left hand, right hand, go behind the back, shift to the left, and then go up and kind of do a double clutch as he draws contact and then lay it in with his left. There was an AAU coach sitting on the baseline next to me, and I said, is that Trey Pullins? And I had my glasses on and everything, but when you get my age, Nico, you have to double and triple check, man. And it, in fact, was Trey Pullins. And I kept seeing it over and over and saw him facing up and having a nice touch. So very impressed with Trey Pullins. Again, a coach that, because of his size at a legit 6'8", athletic, can now actually be a threat, is showing that he can be a threat. And it just wasn't this weekend. I saw glimpses of it 2 weekends ago at the TABC Showcase up in Duncanville. So, Nico, those are just two of the prospects that stood out to me, whether it's naming some of the prospects we have listed or any other prospects there in a minute or two that you want to talk about that stood out. Mbateca. We're gonna go with Mbateca for right now.
Mbateca, yeah, we'll go with Mbateca. Definitely, like you said, definitely defines the eye test. He's a true 7-footer, like you said. He's not skinny. He's very large frame.
Big frame.
Can definitely, back to the basket game is there. Like you said, the pivot's there. Face-up game's there. definitely makes it difficult to get shots over him. Just an overall two-way player. Very, very impressive prospect.
Definitely, and our ops manager, Kendall Smith, joining in there on the feed for sure, saying, Trey Pullen's motor, just to go back to that, was very impressive this weekend. I mean, he played in overdrive. He was redlining it the whole time. Very impressive. A couple of other prospects, if you haven't seen, ladies and gentlemen, as we got 7 minutes here before we wrap it up. Zachariah Linson, a freshman to be sophomore for San Antonio Legends, I believe. And let me see here, Nico, if I can remember. If you remember off the top of your head, you'll throw me a solid and an assist. I have him on the roster, Zachariah Linson. Don't have a high school. Do not have a high school listed.
Yeah, he's on SA Legends 15U. He goes to, I talked to Coach over there on SA Legends. He's over there at Medina Valley High School.
MV, that's right, man, in the 830. There we go. Nice. Intriguing prospect, 6'2", 6'3". Did a little bit of everything, inside out, athletic, obviously flourished in transition. Again, going back, we touched on Jaron Hall, the way he was able to shoot the ball, very accurate and confidently letting it fly, catching it 1 second and letting it fly. There was a couple times we saw him create space, get by the defender, or take a dribble to separate, like we were saying, creating space, and then using a very soft touch jump shot. Very impressed with Jaron Hall and how he shot the ball this past weekend. Lucas Drasudis, another hard work player from Corpus Christi, Flower Bluff. Looks like he's fully recovered from what was a knee injury. Again, played well, 6'7", ran the floor extremely fine, and finished above the rim multiple times. Showed a nice finesse to his game as well. And the list just goes on and on. We've mentioned Xavier Martinez. Dakari Hodge, as you saw, Nico. And if you want to touch on Dakari real quick, because I know you saw him a few times, it looks like he's round. I don't want to say that he's 100% back yet to pre his knee injury, but that might have been the most fluid and the best lateral movement that we saw. And his jump shot was money. And no pun intended, playing for SA Fire, his jump shot was on fire. What were your thoughts on some of those kids, whether it be Dakari or any of those others, Nico?
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. Just to touch base on, definitely on Dakari. SA Fire had a good chance to go ahead and send Texas Hard Work home right there and not allow them to go to the championship game, if you will. That game went down to the last possession. Dakari was on fire. I think he had like 6 threes that game. Definitely showing he can shoot the ball, because definitely we all know if you go ahead and watch Dakari play, he definitely has a large frame. He can beat you to the bucket, kind of bully ball, if you will, inside. So he definitely added that shot back. He's back from that knee injury, like you said. Also, they got point guard Jameer Dudley, who's also a dual sport athlete.
Yep, football stud.
Yep. He can definitely go ahead and get to the bucket, get in the paint at will, kind of. So overall good. 2 good prospects right there from SA Fire that were very impressive this weekend.
Good stuff. And we got a couple more prospects. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we always want to try and give as much exposure. So go to the website. It's a free piece. I see Dylan there also commenting. Yeah, definitely. He also got some key blocks in transition. Yep, over the weekend. Yep, exactly. Good to see him coming back from that injury. Lou Martinez, we appreciate you chiming in there. HD Toros, we think that's you. A couple of others. I mean, the list goes on and on. People joining, so we greatly appreciate the love. A couple of other prospects just to touch on. If D1 Hines didn't have enough height, Nico, it was 7'3". Yes, taller than Daniel. 7'3", Harold Lee, also at Northwoods Temple Academy in North Carolina. And in addition to that, 6'6", you had it earlier, Zumarian Brown out of Beaumont Westbrook. Now, again, we're hearing there could be some relocation, and it's so fluid nowadays. I know a lot of coaches don't like it, fair or not. But if the kids end up transferring, we'll let you know. But a lot of signs are pointing towards a Syntex location going into next school season. Once we can get confirmation on that, if there is a confirmation, we'll be happy to bring it up. But again, Harold Lee, athletic, long, even longer wingspan than Daniel and Bateca. Also, numerous times shook the gym, sent back shots. A great weak side help defender was teammate 7'3", Harold Lee. Jackson Vandegaard of ATX 417U, of Field General, who can facilitate or score. Micah Gibbs showed out for Max Level Elite, the white team. Isaac Stouffer, another standout from Corpus Christi Ice, Corpus Christi Flower Bluff. Carter May, 6'8" big, really drawed the attention, and we had a couple of college coaches in attendance who actually were impressed with Carter May. Max Level Elite Red, 6'8" rim protector who also showed a nice touch. And certainly last but not least, Kyle Kielberg, a 6'6", Strong frame freshman for Coach Dion's 15U team as ATX Lockdown played up into the 16U division. Showing very, very competitive. Kyle again passes the eyeball test as a freshman to be sophomore. He'll be suiting up for Coach Beatty and Lake Travis this coming fall. Again, now just developing and seeing, does he grow a little bit or does he develop that skill set at 6'6", Nico, kind of that tweener position. But see a lot of people commenting. Yeah, Jack Wright 2024. Yes, also had he'll be at Antonian with Coach Bernal. 2-0 _ Christian. Zero problems with a Z. Thank you so much for joining us. As we got a few minutes here, Nico, before we wrap it up for tonight. It's gone by so fast already, 27 minutes. So we got about 3 minutes here before we shut it down. And just moving on in our rundown, Nico, looking at some of the news and notes that in the area, shout out on the girls' side. Want to go ahead and give a shout out to Chanel Reed of Austin High and her teammate, Jade Clack, also of Austin High. Both young ladies today committed. Coincidence or not, planned or not, I don't know. But congratulations. Chanel is going to be going to the Hilltop at SMU. Jade Clack is going to be doing her thing for the TCU Horned Frogs. Looking forward to great things from those young ladies in their senior year. And again, transitioning into that note, Nico, we have the live periods this weekend. Both the boys and girls start tomorrow, Thursday. The boys ends on Sunday evening. The girls goes on to Monday. And I'm going to be racking up the miles, whether they be the airfare miles or the pedal to the metal Fred Flintstone miles on I-35. But we'll be in the DFW area all around, whether it's Carrollton at the stage, whether it's the Keller Gasso, whether it's the girls PBR Texas finale. We're gonna log some overtime this weekend and not get paid, Nico. So again, just a lot of good stuff there, Nico. And overall, just your thoughts as we're winding down here the show in the Summer Hoopsfest, and then that live period. It's the last chance for some of these juniors to be seniors during the live period here to put on, obviously, and solidify their position in some of these recruiting boards. Yep.
And Fleming's sister, she's over there on the Adidas circuit. So just going towards touching base on the girls' side, just a fun prospect over there to kind of watch for that 2026.
For sure. And a couple of more news and notes. Just some coaching changes, and I don't know if folks are privy to this yet. As we get to wrap up here, literally got about a minute and a half left, Nico. Just a heads up on that. But some of the coaching changes, and actually just shocking. But it's the day and age. Nowadays, they even trickle down from professional sports to college to high school. But on the boys' side, in the private school area, if you have not heard, there's been two surprising changes. Barry Chamberlain is out at St. Mary's, being replaced by former St. Mary's assistant. I think he spent 1 or 2 years back. And now Jaron Arnold is going to be leading the Barons program at St. Mary's Hall. Excuse me. And then possibly even more surprising is Coach Bruce McGonaghy over at Central Catholic is out. Coach Mack, great guy, good coach, even better person, is out after a long tenure at Central Catholic, leading the Buttons. Again, no confirmation yet official as far as who the replacement is, but just very surprising. And Nico, just quickly, your thoughts here as we're up against it, to go ahead and end on a note here. And one more thing, we'll talk about our fall events, but I truly think, and again, if you maybe are under a rock, the success that Antonian has had, winning 2 TAP 6A championships in the last 4 years, finishing runner-up again last year, I think the success to see what Antonian has built and is being able to sustain, and they're going to be right there again this year. It's going to be tough for them to repeat, to get back to that state runner-up game or that state runner-up finish or even win it again. It's going to be tough, but nonetheless, seeing the success, that the crosstown rivals, St. Mary's Hall, Central Catholic, and seeing what Antonian has been able to do, in all honesty, if you think that didn't play anything with these changes, you don't know basketball and you don't know the tri-region scene and you don't know the 210 scene. But just your thoughts on that quickly, Nico, on some of the changes. We'll talk about some of our events, and then we'll wrap it up and get out of here. Nico, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see who goes ahead and transfers over to private schools. We had a lot of people leave the state, so just as far as the transfers and stuff, just going to be fun to see who goes where as far as public and private schools. So
Definitely. Yeah, and of course, Nico, we're remiss. We haven't talked, but, Zayden High has transferred out from Smithson Valley. KJ Lewis has transferred from the 915 up to Duncanville. Nazar Mahmoud has transferred up to DFW and Spring Academy, leaving Leander Rouse as well. And so, as we wind it down here in the last minute, ladies and gents, again, thank y'all so much for everybody who's joined us. There's Tav Tone, also known as Ant_Tavares, pushing the Atonement Crusaders. Way to go, Tavares. In addition to that, ladies and gents, don't forget high school coaches. Yes, Noe Cantu. Yes, Dakota Cogill. The information is on our free website. The dates of our I-35 Girls High School Showdown, September 10th here in San Antonio. The very next Saturday, we have our boys I-35 High School Showdown that sold out about 2 weeks in advance last year with 56 teams, September 17th here in San Antonio. We take a weekend off, and then we hit the pedal to the metal. We take the jalopy up to Round Rock, and we have our first ever joint Syntex I-35 High School Showdown. Joint meaning both boys and girls. We are limited at 32 boys teams, and we're almost at half. We're almost halfway there already for Round Rock. We're almost on 16 teams that have already reserved a spot. We only got room for 32 boys teams because the other 16 to 24 teams, we're going to make a Syntex Girls High School Showdown. So the Round Rock Sports Center is going to be jam-packed. It's going to be fully loaded. Just really looking forward to it, Nico. I know you haven't been a part of our high school showcase yet, our high school showdowns, but something that I think is going to be extremely well attended. So we want to be all over it with the coverage and just the competition as we've been adding Dallas and Houston area teams on both the boys and girls side. Something to look forward to this fall, Nico. Definitely. And everything is on www.alamocityhoops.com. But again, the girls I-35 High School Showdown in San Antonio is September 10th. Put it down. Make Siri, make Cortana remember it. September 10th here in San Antonio. September 17th is our boys I-35 High School Showdown here in San Antonio. September 17th. We take a weekend off. And then October 1st, we go to Round Rock for our first ever joint Syntex boys and girls I-35 High School Showdown. Please note, we're not joking. The boys' side in Round Rock is already approaching 16 teams that have already reserved spots. So we're only taking, as of right now, 32 teams. We're leaving 16 to 24 spots for the girls. And the girls' side is also picking up in Round Rock for October 1st. So it's going to be a great time, Nico. Just so much going on. And for people that don't know, we do so much more just than November to March. And you know this firsthand, finishing the high school season at the Alamo Dome, Nico. As soon as that season ends, we don't stop. It's like it picks up and ramps up for us that much more with our exposure events to launch, and then going into April and May with our girls, Queens of the Hardwood, and then the Syntex Hoopsfest on the boys' side. So, again, ladies and gents, that's going to wrap it up. We are over already a couple of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the outro here. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. Had so much interaction, so many people joining. If we missed your shout out, apologize. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Nico, it was a great weekend. We look forward here to having a little bit of downtime in August, and then we get right back to the pavement, hitting the 110-degree asphalt in September. So thank y'all so much. Again, for my co-host and one of our new reporters, Nico Jordan, I am Antonio Castillo, the CEO and founder of Alamo City Hoops. Thank y'all so much. Shout out to the Syntex, the SoTex, the West Texas. Y'all know we're always grinding, putting pedal to metal. And as always, we'll see you in the gym. Peace.